Hello everybody, and welcome to today's project. We're going to work on putting a new light underneath the cabinet for our little desk area. This should be a pretty simple project compared to other things we've done. So, I'll show you real quick. When you're sitting at a desk like this, like that, sometimes you have an opportunity for a light underneath the cabinet. I'll show you here. Underneath there's a light. Do you see that? And then the switch is over here. Here's the switch right here. But the problem, of course, is that when you're sitting down like this, now we're sitting in the desk chair, that light can be right in your eyes, and it can be really bright. So what we're going to do today is replace that fixture with a new fixture that we can put a dimmer switch over here with, and then we can turn the light down so it's not so bright in our eyes when we're sitting down here at the desk. So we're going to put an LED light up here that used to be a fluorescent light. You can see there's the fluorescent connector there. We're going to put an LED light because those are dimmable and they're kind of the new thing right now. So everything seems to be going LED. So we're going to put a special dimmer switch in that LED lights work with. And the light itself is also dimmable, and I'll show you all that. So let's get started. And the first thing we have to do is we have to turn the breaker off so that we don't get a shock when we're working on electrical stuff. So let's go do that. So here's the breaker right here, the one we want to turn off. And it's pretty simple, just click it like that and it's off. And now there's no power to that switch or to that plug, and so we can work on it safely. Next, we want to get all of our supplies and tools right there so we can work on them. So let's do that. There we go. Magically appeared. So, again, hopefully this is a simple project today. So what we have for tools is we have a couple of screwdrivers. We have our attachments for our drill. We have our light, which is in this box back here. And we have our switch, which is right here. And we're going to need a new switch plate because these switches are square like this. And we're going to need a plate that will go up here. Oops. That will go up here. Whoops. And go with the new plate. You'll see how that works. So, let me show you real quick what's important on the light. Also, let me show you what the old light looked like. I already took it out of here so you can see. This is the bulb out of the old light, and you'll recognize it as a fluorescent bulb. Very long one. It's a 4-foot bulb, and this was the cover that was over the top of it. So I'm going to put those out of the way here now because we don't need those anymore. But what's important on this light is mostly that it's an LED light. Let me turn it around here so you can read it. It's an LED light that's in there, and that it's going to fit in our space up here, and I'll show you that. And this is the part that's really important, is it has to be dimmable if we're going to use a dimmer switch. So I got this at Home Depot, and I got the switch at Home Depot if you guys want to get the same thing. And here's the number on the light, if you can see that. And here's the number on the switch. All right. So the plan is that we have 2 steps here. Well, 3, I guess. One is that we're going to remove the old light. And by the way, the other thing about this light is that this one let's see if I can find it on here. This one requires to be wired in like this. That's called hardwired. It's not a plug on the end. You don't plug it into a plug like that. You have to hardwire this one in, which is the way we want to do it because we're coming from a switch like that. So we needed a light that would hardwire in. And when I said it needed to fit, let me get underneath here. You can see we have kind of a limited amount of space to put this into. Right there, hopefully you can see that. So this light is also right for the space. Okay, let's get started. All right, so first thing I would like to do is to make sure the new light, which is this one here, and there it is all the way along, will fit up there where the old light is. And the old light is attached by screws that just go up into the bottom of the cabinet. So we need to be able to get to where the screws go. So first thing is we take this cover off, and that just comes off. I took it off here for you, but there's these little tabs right here. Let's zoom in on those. Those little tabs right there. You just squeeze the plastic in like that, and they lift off the tabs. Now this next bit's a little trickier. There's little tabs here, and down there to get this cover off. So let's do that. I'll show you how that looks. Let me get this in the middle. So there's one. I just pushed with my thumb on the bottom. I'll do it down here on this one. Push with my thumb on the bottom, and off it should come. I've already done the other side. So we'll do the same thing here. Push on the bottom, and up it comes, and there we go. And now we have opened it up so you can see the inside. And what we have in here are some electronics. This is normally, if it's fluorescence, this would be called a ballast, and I think it might still be. But this is the fluorescent lights. If you've never seen, or the LED lights, if you've never seen them, that's what they look like. Each one of these little orange dots is an LED, or light emitting diode. And those are what all of the LED lights look like. They're all manufactured pretty much the same way, and then they just put them in different shapes and sizes so that we can use them as a light bulb, or we could use them as a strip light like this. And then we have some wires coming out that will go to the ballast down here. And then we also have a place on here where we're going to put in our power coming in from the switch. Will come in here. I think that's where it comes in. Oh, wait a minute, never mind. That comes in down here in this one. So this is where the power comes in. And this is where you hook it up to the ballast. So we're going to need to figure out how to run all these wires. So it looks like we'll be able to screw it to the underneath the cabinet just fine. Now the trick is to see if we've got enough wire to be able to put this together. Normally they expect you to put this in the middle. Let me show you here. There's the light, and this is about the middle of the light here. This is where the power is. They expect a power, power from the switch to come in through this little hole, and I'll show you how to break those out. But in this case, we're going to have the power coming in probably from down here, like here. And so we need to make sure that we have enough wire to be able to get all the way down here to this one. So let's get started on that part. So let's look at the power, the switch, and the wire. So we'll take the screws out of here. These are switch plate screws. That's all there are to it. So 1, 2, 3 screws. And that switch plate will pop right off of there. Sometimes they're a little stuck because they stick to the paint. There we go. There we are. So that's off. And now we can see inside of here. And we'll need to take this switch out because that's going to get replaced anyway. You could do this with a screwdriver, but it goes a lot faster with a power drill like this because these screws are kind of long. there's the switch. That's come out of there. So let's zoom in a little on this. So switches are pretty straightforward. They just interrupt one of the wires that goes up to the light. There are two wires, a white and a black, that go up to the light. This is the black wire, and it just interrupts them. And when you do that, it connects the two wires, and when you do that, it turns the connection off. So off and on by interrupting one of the wires, in this case the black wire. Our new switch will wire up pretty much like this. It's just a bigger switch, and I'll show you. You can see how big that switch is compared to the other one. This is this little switch here, and this one is that big, because it's got a lot of electronics in there to allow it to dim the light. All right, so we don't need this switch anymore, so we should take that out of there. I thought the power was off to that. Ah, I know what happened. I turned the receptacle power off, but this is wired through the lights. Hang on a second, let me go turn the lights out. Okay, that's better. Oops. So no power in there now. Sometimes you live and learn. No, notice it didn't really hurt me. That's because I pulled back quickly, but it gives you a little bit of a warning that there's still power in there. So these are the two wires that are interrupted, and this is the ground wire over here. So take that one off too. There we go. So now that's the old switch taken out. Here. Oops, gotta get it in the picture. There we go. That's the old switch taken out. And here's our new switch. The same thing. You got the two things on either side here and here, where the two wires go, and this is the ground. The green one is always usually ground. So we'll hook all those up once we're ready. So now that we got this all apart, we're going to check out underneath here. We haven't taken the light out. We're going to check under there. We're going to check here to make sure that we can hook this wire. This is the old fixture here. We're going to hook this wire up to the new fixture. So let's do that next. Okay, next we're going to take this fixture down, and there are screws holding it up here and there, and then there's this wire over here, which you can see. There's the wire, and we'll have to take that wire out of there. So let's start over here. We'll loosen this clamp up. This is clamping the wire together. Okay, and now we'll take this screw out here. Actually, these don't have to come all the way out. They're set up so that there's a slot in them, and then the light will slide out of there. All right, that should do it. Now let's see if we can just slide that light out of there. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, there we go. So now we have our light down, and what we want to see is how much cable we have here. Not very much. That may be a little tricky to work with, but let's do that real quick. So now we need to open up this fixture here to get inside and unhook those wires so we can put them into the new fixture. Okay, it looks like we have 3 screws to take out. There's one. Here's 2. Oops. There's 2. Oops, there goes my wrench. And 3 is down here. 1, 2, 3. Oop, and there we go. Out it comes. So this is what this looks like on the inside. Here's what this looks like. This is the ballast. You saw that on the other one. And there's where the power comes in. Here's our power from the switch right here. And there's the ground. And so we'll see if this wire is long enough to get in there. So let's check that out. First thing we'll do is unhook this one. These things, zoom in a little here, these are called wire nuts. This right here, these orange things. So you just unscrew them like you would unscrew a regular nut on a bolt. And while I'm doing this, you'll notice that there's a white wire and a black wire now. That's because you need both of those for power. On the switch, we only interrupted the black wire. And that turns the light on and off. But you need both wires to be able to power that. Okay, so that's this bit taken off. Oops, let me back up again here. That's this bit taken off. And that's where this is where the fluorescent bulb went, right here. And here, you can see that. And so this is the inside. And we don't need that anymore. So next thing we'll do is we'll get the wire out of here. And that should just pull right out. Straighten the wires out a little, they're stiff. So just to get them out of there. There we go. So now the old light is out. And by the way, this thing on the end here, this is meant to be a connector so the wire goes through it, and this clamps down on the wire so that you can't pull the wire out. It's a safety feature. All right, so next we'll see if this is long enough to put our new light on. All right, so I was sort of anticipating this to be the trickiest part of this project, and that is that this wire here is the one that goes down to the switch. So there's a wire that comes from this box up through the wall, up through that hole, and out to here. That is probably hooked onto a stud right about in there, which means that trying to pull a new wire up there, a longer wire, would be more challenging. Not impossible, but it would take some effort. Might have to tear this wall up a little bit. So if we can use this existing wire and its length, then we're much better off. So here's what we need to do. Here's the light, and there's the white and the black. Here's the white, the white and the black. So we need to just make sure where the light mounts, this wire is long enough to hook up to this wire. And it looks like we're going to be mounting there. Now the other tricky bit about this is that you kind of don't want to have too much of this wire here showing from the outside. Most of the time this wire is going to be hidden inside the wall. So we kind of want to have this end of the light as close to this hole as possible. So I think we'll end up mounting this almost like the old light was, which is right there, if you can see what I'm doing. It's right next to that hole. All right, let's get started on that then. And it looks like there's plenty of wire to connect everything. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is run the wire through this hole here. Doesn't look like a hole now, but we're going to show you that. And that means that this wire up here will come down through that hole. So this is called a knockout in terms of electrical guys. So it's not very hard, just doesn't seem obvious at first as you just push down and kind of bend it back like that, then turn it over, and then grab it from the other side with something you can bend with, and kind of just bending the metal tabs on there until they break. I'll show you what that looks like. Hang on a second here. So there we go. That's the tab broken out, and there's the hole in the bottom right there, and that's where the wire will go through. All right, so now let's see if we can put the light up there. All right, here goes one. Good. And here goes the other one. Just right up here. Okay, good. Nothing sparked or popped. And let there be light. There we go. All right, so let's try turning it off here without touching the wires. See if that'll go off. And there we go. Excellent. Excellent. So let's try turning it back on. And we can dim it by pushing this button here, because we want to get this down dimmer. Like that. Oh, much better. Hooray! Okay, let's put it all back together. All right, that's better. I had to take it out and kind of work all the wires into the little crevices so they weren't poking down and making this thing bulge here. But that's all done, so let's work on the switch now. Okay, so now the only tricky bit here is, first of all, they give you two long screws. Let's see if I can get this out here so you can see two long screws that go into these holes, not these little short ones that go with the plate. Now the other tricky thing is that this is a bigger switch, as I said earlier in the video, and we just need to make sure we can get it in there with all the wires. So we have to kind of gently push everything back in. And let there be light. We have one last thing to do, and that is just to push that cover up there. I'll show you what that looks like. So you can see the cover is hanging down just a little bit, so let's just push it up there. You gotta squeeze it together and push it into the little tabs here. Okay, good, good. And that's all there is to it. And then one last thing to do is they give you these little plastic ends that you can put on here. Kind of neaten it up a little bit. They just snap into place. It's supposed to. There we go. All snapped into place. And that project is done. So, thanks for joining me as we did this. Oh, gotta get my hair out of my eyes. There we go. Ugh. No wonder I can't see anything. So, that looks like it works pretty good. Now, that's the lowest setting. It's a pretty bright light. And so we'll see if that's all right. But this is off. There's off right there. And then this is on full. There's full, bright, very bright indeed. Well, enjoy your projects and let there be light, and hopefully your projects work out as well. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you liked it, and like it if you liked it. Bye. This is the wrong switch. Doesn't have the 0 to 10 voltage control on it that we're going to wire up to those two. And this is the right switch. And it has the purple and the gray, which is what we're going to put on. Purple and gray. There's purple and gray. So we're going to put the right switch in. and we'll see if this works better. And here's the new switch. There's the light. So this is all dimmed. There we go. I don't see any flickering on the video either. Certainly there's no flickering in light. But this is what it looks like on full. Very bright. That's what it looks like on dim. That's exactly what we're looking for. So there's our purple and gray. And it's wired so that, I can't see it in the back there, but the black wire is now going in that way. So we're good. Now it's time to button it up and we'll be done with this project. And there is the project done. Off, on, slide up for full, very bright. Slide down for that. The switch that I ended up getting was this one. A manufacturer is Eaton, and it's a DF10P. And partly because it was recommended by the light instructions, and partly because this manufacturer, Eaton, owns this company who makes this, Cooper Lighting. So I figured, well, best guess is that they made their switches to work with their lights. All right, well, thanks for watching, and hopefully you have better luck with yours now that we've made our mistakes on this one. So remember, check your light first to see if it needs a 0 to 10 volt DC circuit. If so, get a switch that will work with that, and usually identified by a separate set of wires. It looks like gray and purple are kind of industry standards. All right, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next video.